Straight from my gut.
I'm encouraged presentation. Yeah.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
So this is how racism affects NIMBY by Kurt Edward, Jack Lyle, Avi Singh, and Fisher Whitehead. Next slide, please. So NIMBY stands for Not in My Backyard, and it's a type of urban planning in which richer cities tend to move further away from the poorer cities, which further separates the wage gap between the two. And NIMBY has been a very controversial topic over the years, and specifically within the racist community, because there have been, usually the richer people tend to be white, and the poor people tend to be ethnically diverse, and so this is where the controversy comes in. And so racism does play factors in NIMBY, and as you can see right here, this is in Miami, Florida, and these are actually right next to each other. So this is a poor, actually Latino community, and here is a rich community. Next slide, please. So NIMBY affects people of color specifically because it leads them to poorer quality of life. And the question we're wondering is, why won't NIMBY go away? Well, that's because usually the rich people are understandably rich, and they want to build more housing because it makes them richer. And so what they do is they push the poorer people back out, so that way the more land they have, the more higher quality of life they have. And the less land the poor people have, the lower quality of life they have. White homeowners will refuse to give up this lifestyle because they benefit more from it. And it increases their profit. Next slide, please.
Okay, so there are a couple reasons why we need to get rid of NIMBY. For one, if we got rid of NIMBY, it would have made a better life for just the entire population of not only America, but every other country in the world. It would create new jobs, and it would allow more work opportunities for lower income communities, which would just basically boost economic value in the U.S. Also, if we got rid of it, it would make a lot less dangerous neighborhoods, because a lot of the lower income communities usually tend to have higher crime rates, and by lowering that, we would have a lot less problems with just dangers in general. The last thing it would do, it would create economic balance, because by mixing certain communities, factories, and other things into play, it would make a lot of better, a much better environment for people, and also give them a lot more opportunities to explore different types of economic jobs and opportunities. Next slide, please.
Solution 1, YIMBY. Next slide, please. What is it? YIMBY stands for Yes in My Backyard. The solution would involve passing pro-development laws instead of non-pro-development laws like Not in My Backyard advocates for. It's the opposite of Not in My Backyard, and it was created afterwards to fight against that. Next slide, please. The limitations of YIMBY. For one, it's really hard to pass laws and legislation because it's hard to get a community to agree upon one thing to pass. And there's a whole group of people not in my backyard opposed to these laws, so that'll make it difficult. Next slide, please. The impact. One of the benefits of pro-development is that the housing prices in these communities or neighborhoods will go down, which will allow lower income families and groups of people to get into communities, which will make these communities more diverse ethnically. One of the downsides of Yes in My Backyard is that the property value of already existing properties will also go down, which is one of the main reasons people are against Yes in My Backyard. Next slide, please.
Well, the second solution we will go over is promoting anti-racist legislature for office, which is just bringing in a more diverse, Senate and just everyone in authority. This will hope to get rid of NIMBY and bring different voices to office. Diana from the University of California, Davis with the Fast Company organization, supports this by stating the demographics of the design fields are improved from a few generations ago, there's still very few people of color or from lower income backgrounds in these fields or in the schools, and certainly there are few in leadership resources, allocating, and decision-making positions. This results in a missed opportunity to have the diversity of understanding ideas, talent, and perspectives for the very important role that designers have in influencing the constant change of urban built environments. China Dickerson from Howard Law School also supports this strategy by saying, in order to halt the ongoing assault on political power of Black and brown Americans, we must look to the foundation of our government, state legislatures. This could not be more important ahead of redistricting next year. Failure to break GOP control in the most influential state legislatures in the country will result in higher levels of voter suppression and gerrymandering not yet seen in the modern era. Next slide, please. Obviously, there are many limitations to this solution because in order for this to work, you have to vote in people, which many people will disagree on, so it's not very consistent. But when the right people are voted in, it should help make everyone's voices heard. Next slide, please.
To conclude this, NIMBY separates the American people and overall just puts a lot of problems in the U.S. with economic diversity and economic issues. There are solutions such as NIMBY and anti-racial legislation, which should be put into place if they can be. Of course, there are problems with these solutions, but they can be solved. Thank you for listening to our presentation.
Okay, not bad. You can stay up there. You're not done yet.
Hey, not bad.